The first cohort of Johnson University MBA students completed their Capstone projects recently, and the purpose of this video is to provide highlights of those projects, including some videos of the students in their own words describing what they learned from their projects. The first project to highlight is Alyssa's work with SOAR Ministries. SOAR Ministries is located here in the United States, and they work with a ministry in Honduras called AFE. And AFE is located literally on the side of a trash dump in Honduras. And AFE goes in and ministers to the people of that village. They teach the school children from early grades up through high school age, and one of the things they do is they teach them technical skills, vocational skills. But the problem is, once the students graduate, they don't have the funds to buy welding equipment or auto repair parts or that type of thing to start their own business. And so SOAR asked us about the feasibility of microfinancing. And they came to us and said, we really don't know anything about microfinancing. Could one of your students write us up a business plan that would describe how that would work? What are the best practices of microfinancing? How does it work? What kind of funds do we need? What does the payback look like? What's the competition out there? All of those things that go into a business plan, we need to know about how we might set this up. And so Alyssa tackled this project, and here's how she described that what she learned from that project.
Hi, my name is Alyssa, and the Capstone project I worked on was creating a microfinance plan for SOAR Ministries. A little bit about the business plan is that we were working with another nonprofit down in Honduras, and so basically SOAR Ministries was wanting to provide a microfinance loan to graduating students in Honduras so that they're able to begin their own business. These microfinance loans are typically given to individuals in poverty-stricken countries that don't have access to credit to begin these businesses or to expand their businesses. So what I learned was that it's all encompassing. It's not just about the loan. It's about the whole business plan. SOAR would not be able to sustain this business plan if they were just focused on the loan. They really had to learn that they have to market the loan to donors to be able to receive the funds. They have to analyze the Honduras economy. They have to analyze the microfinance market to see who their competitors are, to see just the different aspects of microfinance in general, about the repayment process, looking again at the profits that these students or graduating students are going to make to know how they're going to be able to repay the loan back. So again, it's all encompassing with what we've learned. It's not just about one area. It really truly is being able to bring all aspects of business into one paper to be able to create this sustainable business plan.
The second Capstone project comes to us from Romania. A family in America donated $1 million to Missio International to develop a retreat center at a facility called Alpeniche. And one of the conditions of the grant was that they would provide a business plan of how that facility was to operate. So how many people do they need to hire? What's the cash flow look like? How are they going to market it to the area churches and Christians in Romania? That type of thing. And so that project was tackled by Josh and Kelly.
Hi, I'm Josh Gaines, and my capstone project was working with Alpeniche, which is a ministry camp in Romania. And I would say the biggest takeaway for me was I learned to deal with a lot of the financial side of the business. Basically, I looked at financial data that they collected from around 2012 to about 2016. And I was able to find trends within the financial data, within their attendance, that correlated to their peaks in season and then their lows in their season, and referenced that with how they wanted to proceed with making some changes. Specifically, they wanted to incorporate in their low seasons, they wanted to bring in some more businesses and corporate partners to try and use their facility as a way to do conferences, and then in the summers and sometimes in the winter as well, because they would have some ski camps that they would do their regular camps in the summer months, and then again in the winter when they could really use those the winter months and the summer months to generate the revenue for what the camp was designed for. And then the rest of the year they would use the businesses to try and offset some of those operational costs. In addition, I would say that Kelly planned the organizational structure of the company, and I was able to see the cost of employees and what it means to add on one employee per year, and it can be fairly expensive with all the costs that you don't necessarily see outside of the person's salary. So it was a very eye-opening situation for me to experience how the financials of a business are structured, primarily on the operational side, and I had a really good time working with my committee and being able to provide something of substance for Alpeniche, and hopefully they can use it to grow.
The third capstone project was the Knoxville Martial Arts Academy, and this was undertaken by Doug and Glenn. And KMAA is growing from a sort of a mom and pop type of operation where it's almost a hobby of the owners, but they want to take it to the next level and make it a successful small business. And so Doug and Glenn were able to work with them to help them understand what it would take for them to be successful as a small business, and presented a plan for them to follow.
I'm Glenn Feaster. This is what I've learned in the Capstone project in my MBA course. Basically, the Capstone is learning experience. We did not know it all going in. We knew a lot, we certainly did, but we learned some things about how to deal with people. We put a lot of our training to use during the Capstone project, and especially in the gathering the information stage and the writing the paper stage. We created an outline and a framework right ahead, at the beginning. I would say that that's very important, and then we could flesh that out as we would go through and put in the information. I think asking great questions of the business owners is certainly valuable, and we can't be afraid to ask that question over again in a different way. Try to get that information. Sometimes they don't understand what we're really getting at. The business owners were busy, so were we. So we asked permission to bug and annoy them through text messages and emails, phone calls, that sort of thing. We told the business owners up front that we may annoy them, and that it's good for the business and for our project that we get this information. We just asked for permission, and we just did it. One thing I would say is get the final paper done. We'd like to have gotten it done a little earlier. We had some issues with health that put us back about a week, but I would say getting it done earlier would have helped greatly. Having fun with it, I had a lot of fun with the business owners. We laughed and joked, we had a good time. It was a mutual benefit to us both. I think to keep in mind that we really did learn something in our MBA courses. When I first looked at the project, I was like, man, I don't know anything about this stuff. But no, really, I did. I had learned a lot in the classes. The last thing I'll say is to be persistent and set deadlines, goals, get the project completed. That was one thing that was crucial. But otherwise, it was a great experience, a great project, and a great result, I think.
Hello, Dr. Reed. Wanted to take a couple minutes and share with you what I learned in our Capstone project for our MBA. I think it boils down to three different things. The first thing is that I learned that a lot of areas are dependent on the others. By that I mean that the marketing relies on the finances. If you don't have the finances to do the marketing, you're in trouble. But I think that it's very important that a business has to understand that each area is dependent on the other, and so you can't just do one well. You have to make sure you're consistent. The second is that a business has to keep track of the financials. That was one of the things that we ran into this year and are doing our MBA, our Capstone project, that is so important for a company to know how much money they're bringing in and how much money they are expending. So important. And then the third thing is that you got to have a great team of people surrounding you. That was one of the things that I learned, that my partner and I doing this Capstone project, is you got to have people that are strengths in your weaknesses. And that's what I had through this project. And I'm very appreciative of having a great team that can help us to succeed in writing this plan. It was a great opportunity. I learned a lot from it, and I hope to be able to use what I've learned throughout my career and even in my personal life. Thanks.
And finally, the fourth capstone project, Matt had a fascinating project in working with a church camp. Now, about a year ago, Matt was hired as the executive director of this church camp to turn it around, basically try to rescue it from bankruptcy, insolvency. And so they're really struggling, and so they bring Matt in to turn things around for them. And so Matt's capstone project was his presentation for the board of directors on his plan for turning the camp around. So again, developing a business plan of how we're going to turn the camp around and make it successful. And he had some bold suggestions in there. He didn't play it safe. He really presented some ideas that were accepted by the board, and made a very successful project.